What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the What I've Learned video series. And in this one, I'm going to be discussing my experiences dating as an introverted guy. I think it's really relevant to start off by saying that introversion and extroversion is a spectrum, and very few people are truly extroverted and very few people are truly introverted. Most people sit somewhere in between. I myself definitely lean more towards introverted, and it's for this reason that I think I've got some really powerful insights to share with you. So the first thing that I'd like to say, don't think that just because you're introverted, you're not confident. I see this narrative all the time. I see it in the comments on YouTube videos, I see it with my clients, and I myself used to experience it a lot. You go out and you look at the more extroverted guys and you see them, you feel inferior, and you think to yourself, why would any woman want to be with someone like me when they can have someone who's loud, outgoing, and confident like the extroverted guys that you so often see? And this makes a lot of sense. Social activities and social dynamics really do lean more towards things that suit extroverts. Going to bars, going to nightclubs, going to sports games. Those are all things that really do suit extroverts. And let's look at the science behind what makes someone extroverted first of all, because we know that if you're born an introvert, you'll die an introvert, and if you're born an extrovert, you'll die an extrovert. Which one you are really determines how you handle dopamine. So when you're in loud social situations, when you're with big groups of people, when there's loud music going on, when you've not got much room to move, when you've got the thrill of getting rejected, dopamine levels rise. Extroverts will love that, and for them that'll feel like they're about to go on their favourite ride at a theme park. They'll feel buzzed, they won't want to go home. For introverts, it's a really different experience. High levels of dopamine means that they feel drained, it means that they want to withdraw, and it means that they want to go home. Introverts, by contrast, rely on a hormone called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is really released from one-on-one conversations, reflective activities, and anything where you're using that more intuitive part of your brain. So you can see it's a real contrast. An introvert in an extroverted dynamic, like a bar, like a nightclub, feels like they need to withdraw. And that was absolutely my experience. For years and years and years, and in fact up until about 6 months ago, I couldn't work out why I'd be with my friends, we'd be chatting, we'd be getting on really well. Then I'd get out and we'd be in the nightclub together and instantly I'd feel bored. I'd look around and I'd see the people there and I'd just think, this is not where I want to be. And I'd just get the overpowering urge to go home. Up until recently, I used to feel a lot of shame for that. And I used to think that there was something wrong with me for being like that. But I now just realize that that's the way I'm hardwired. And once I realized that, it's actually quite powerful because you take that pressure away from yourself and you instantly become comfortable with yourself for something that really seemed quite a big issue before. The other thing to say is too that I've got extroverted friends that seem really confident in social situations, but there's things that I can do which I will feel a lot more confident doing than they will. And once you realize that and you actually start to see that, yes, these people may seem really extroverted, but I'm introverted. I've got my own level of confidence and I've got my own skill set. It changes everything and you really, really do start to feel good. So I honestly would say to any introverts, don't think that you have to be in bars and nightclubs in order to meet people. And don't think that just because you don't enjoy bars and nightclubs, there's anything wrong with you. Because there really isn't. You're confident in your own way. You just need to find what that confident way is. The other thing to say as well, I wouldn't recommend going for extroverted women. And my experience of going for extroverted women was actually quite a common cycle and a theme that really played out a lot. So between the ages of about 18 and 24, 25, I'd always attract a very similar type of girl. They'd usually be fairly extroverted, fairly opinionated, and they would look at me as almost a little bit of a project. They'd look at me as someone who had more of a reflective nature, someone that had more of a caring nature, and someone that would put their needs first. And actually that does make a lot of sense. Introverts are great at building trust, introverts are great at building rapport, and introverts are very socially intuitive. So for a woman who's possibly been burnt by a more extroverted guy, for a woman who's possibly had her heart crushed by an extroverted guy, going for a guy that suddenly seems aware of her feelings and suddenly reads and suddenly understands her a lot more, it's a really powerful mix for her. But the problem that I used to experience was I'd be in a relationship for 3 to 6 months and I suddenly start to realize that I wasn't as happy as I thought I was. And I'd realised that it was because I was beginning to put that person's needs before me. Introverts tend to overthink and they tend to find it harder to stand up for themselves because they're so worried about what the consequences of standing up for themselves will be. So you get into a cycle. You attract a woman who's really interested in you because you're different to what she's experienced before. The relationship starts. You gradually begin to put their needs above yours. You gradually begin to stand up for yourself less and less. And what actually happens is you tend to burn yourself out and you tend to put their happiness above yours subconsciously. And it's a really bad cycle for a relationship. The other thing to say too, Don't think that just because you're introverted, you can't flirt. That's absolutely not the case. This has been my experience, and this is what I'm seeing with a lot of my clients too. Introverts have a really strong advantage over extroverts when it comes to flirting. Extroverts are really focused on everything that's going on around them, but they struggle to focus on what's directly going on in front of them. Introverts are really good at focusing on what's going on in front of them. And of course, if you're on a one-on-one date, you're focusing solely on one person, and that person will be directly in front of you. So what this really means is that you've now got the chance to build rapport, you've now got the chance to build trust, and you've now got the chance to establish a connection, something that an extroverted guy will struggle to do a lot more than you will do. You just need to add the confidence to that, and you just need to add the confidence to build sexual tension. And just because you've got the skills to make a really good friend, and after all, one of the traits of introverts is they tend to have smaller groups of friends, but those friends are really good friends, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's all you can be. So it means that you need to have more confidence in yourself, and it means that you need to really focus on being more clear and concise with your interest in a woman, and you need to be more clear and concise in saying that you have sexual thoughts towards that woman, because by doing so, she'll trust you, she'll have the rapport with you that you've established, but she won't put you in the friend zone because she'll see that there's a lot more to you. Confident introverts are the best flirters that there is, and the reason for that is simple. They have the best of all skill sets. It's just a matter of believing it, putting it together, and then trusting themselves in a dating dynamic. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I really hope that you've got something from it. If you liked it, please can I ask you to click like and subscribe down below. If you really liked it, I am now offering one-on-one coaching on my website, which is also linked below. Thank you so much for watching this video.